One of the biggest fights of the year takes place this Friday at the AT&T Stadium, and that is the freak show matchup between Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. So today, I'm going to give you my prediction on the matchup. Let's quickly look at the tail of the tape for this fight. Let me move my fat head out of the way. Move me here. As you can see, Mike Tyson is a whopping 58 years of age. Now you can see his record. The fact that this is actually a sanctioned pro fight, it's just insane to me. There's Mike Tyson's record: 50 wins, 6 losses, 2 no contests, 44 knockouts. He stands at 5'10". He's got a 71-inch reach. His stance is orthodox, and his birthplace is Brooklyn, New York. Right, there we go. We've got Jake Paul, the Disney Channel star, the quote-unquote face of boxing. That's according to him, by the way. You can see he's 27 years of age. His record is 10-1. I'm trying to think of all the fights that Jake Paul's actually had. Obviously, the loss is the Tommy Fury, which actually was a pretty close fight if you watch it. Who has he beat? He's beat Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz, Mike Perry, Tyron Woodley twice, Nate Robinson, Anison Gibb. Can't remember the other ones, but he stands at 6'1". He's had 7 of his 10 wins have came by knockout. He's got a longer reach than Mike Tyson at 76. He's an orthodox fighter as well, and his birthplace is Cleveland, Ohio. Do you know what? Let me move myself. I'm gonna be honest. I know that this fight is getting a lot of hate, and I'm not in agreement for. I mean. This is a difficult one because when it was announced, I was like, this is the most stupid thing ever. But I actually kind of want to see it. I don't know why. I can't really explain it. Well, I just want to see Mike. I'm looking forward to seeing Mike Tyson back in there because I know pad work is very different from actually fighting. But if we head on over and look at some of the footage from Mike Tyson in the open workout, like, he's not the fastest guy. But again, he's not fighting like an Anthony Joshua or a Tyson Fury. He's fighting fucking Jake Paul. And that's no offense to Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a decent boxer. But Mike Tyson's looking pretty good here. He's got the movement that he used to have. Obviously nowhere near the speed. But, I mean, at 58 years of age, the guy can fairly move. Look at that, the shots he's landing. And if he's able to implement that and get that off on Jake Paul might be in a world of hurt. Now, obviously, we know that this fight is 8 2-minute rounds. And they're both wearing 16-ounce gloves. I've seen people saying, well, no one's going to get knocked out with 16-ounce gloves, which I understand. It's a pretty heavily padded glove. I still think someone's going to get knocked out in this matchup. I will tell you my final prediction near the end of it. I do think we are going to see a stoppage in this matchup. But, like I'm saying, Mike Tyson, he can still move, he can still hit. He's not a complete cripple. Obviously, it's different hitting pads. It'll be different to see how Mike Tyson can actually take a punch in there from Jake Paul because... Say what you want about Jake Paul, but the guy can crack. But as we can see, there's a couple of minutes, bit of footage of Mike Tyson moving around, hitting the pads. The guy looks good, especially for 58 years of age. The guy's a freak athlete. Can someone tell me why my phone's decided just to fall off the desk? Anyway, we move. Let's look at some of Jake Paul's open workout footage. As you can see, Jake Paul's wearing this cock on his head. Don't know what that's for. He said he was feeling like a rooster. I don't know who, and it might be a casual. I am a boxing casual, I'll be honest. I only really pay attention to the massive fights. I don't know who Jake Paul's corner man is. Has he changed teams recently? Or, because I thought he had BJ Flores, is that his name? In his corner. I know he had him in the Tommy Fury fight, but seems like Jake Paul's got a new team around him. I can see Jake Paul's really not showing much in here. He's just showing some simple shots, the 1-2 and the hook. This is an open workout. He's not really going to show much in there. It shows game plan. Although, he is looking... I don't know if fat's the word to use, but we've seen Jake Paul in better shape coming into these matchups. But this is my prediction for this matchup. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul's going to win. I think Jake Paul's not only going to beat Mike Tyson, I think he's going to knock Mike Tyson out. I don't think he's going to knock him out cold, but I do think he is going to drop and hurt Mike Tyson in there, and I think the referee is going to call it off. I think people might say it's a premature stoppage. They might say the referee got involved too early, but I don't think it will be at the end of the day. I can also see a world where Mike Tyson starts to get cracked a bit by Jake Paul, and he just goes, you know what, I'm 58 years of age, I'm going to get paid regardless. This just isn't for me. And you wouldn't blame him for doing that. Apparently the rumour earnings for both guys are Mike Tyson's getting 20 million, Jake Paul's getting 40. And people are like, why is Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson? He's getting 40 fucking million. I would take 40 million to fight Mike Tyson. I'd take 40 million to fight fucking prime Mike Tyson, let alone a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. So I completely understand why Jake Paul's doing this. I feel like youth will play a big factor in this. And I know a lot of people are saying, but it's Mike Tyson, it's Mike Tyson. You've got two sides of the coin. You've got people who are saying it's Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Of course, Mike Tyson's going to win. Then you've got people saying, but he's 58 years of age. Jake Paul has to win. It's kind of a lose-lose for Jake Paul, because if he loses to Mike Tyson, his boxing career is done, in my opinion. There will be no interest for him whatsoever. If he does beat Mike Tyson, everybody's going to say you beat a 58-year-old man, and no one's really going to give him respect for this. But I do think Jake Paul is going to drop him. I think Jake Paul's going to finish him within 3 rounds, to be honest. I think Mike Tyson will have a moment in there where he bobbing and weaving, closes the distance, and Jake Paul maybe lands a couple of shots. But overall, I feel like Jake Paul is going to catch Mike Tyson with a right hand as Mike Tyson comes in, or an uppercut. And I think that's going to be it. I think Mike Tyson's probably going to go down the once in here, and I think it's going to be stopped. Like I said, I don't think the referee's going to be lenient in there. And after this, what's next for Jake Paul? Because Jake Paul's in a really weird position where, like, everybody says, but you don't fight professional boxers, which, you know, that is a fair point. I mean, Jake Paul says, no, he says he's going to call Canelo out after this fight. It's never going to happen. He's never going to be able to fight Canelo, or not at this stage of his career anyway. Canelo's still an active fighter. That just won't happen. It doesn't make sense. Maybe Jake Paul, Canelo will happen when Canelo retires, but as of now, as Canelo is an active fighter, it's not going to happen. But what is going to be next for Jake Paul? So we've seen him in these crossover matchups against these combat sport athletes, which I don't care what anybody says. From a guy who has next to no combat sport experience, in the short period of time that he has been boxing, the names that he's beat: Anderson Silva, one of the best strikers in MMA history, let's just be honest. Nate Diaz, again, people were going on about his boxing ability and blah blah blah, how good his boxing was, and people thought he was going to be able to beat Jake Paul. Jake Paul beat him. Tyron Woodley, maybe, well, it wasn't the best version of Tyron Woodley, but again, a former UFC welterweight champion. I know this is boxing, but you know, they've had years of combat sport experience where Jake Paul really hasn't. And this isn't me glazing the guy. I do feel like the stuff that he's done on boxing doesn't get the respect that it deserves, because it's not easy to go in there and beat an Anderson Silva, or beat a Jake Paul, or beat a Nate Diaz, or beat a Tyron Woodley, or beat a Mike Perry, when you've not had that much combat sports experience. Now, obviously, Jake Paul is picking up the experience now. He's been at this for, God knows, maybe like 5 years, maybe even less. And obviously, he's got the best team money can buy, training him over in Puerto Rico or wherever he's doing his business. But yeah, Jake Paul, in my opinion, is going to beat Mike Tyson. And after this, I know everybody wants to see the KSI fight, and I would be interested in seeing that, don't get me wrong. I don't think KSI is ever going to fight Jake Paul. Why not do Jake Paul, Tommy Fury 2? I'd much rather see that than the KSI rematch, to be honest. And it's a good way for Jake Paul to right his wrong. And I know a lot of people are saying he needs to fight professional boxers. He has done that. That's the thing. That guy Andre August and the other guy fought, those were ranked boxers. You know, at the stage of that Jake Paul is in his career, you know, Canelo and other fighters like that would have been fighting opponents around that same level at that stage of their career. The only difference is Jake Paul's main eventing a mega show in these sold out stadiums, and he's Jake Paul, he's got a big name. That's why he kind of gets the hate that he gets. I understand people are hating on him for this one because everybody loves Mike Tyson. He's a legend of the game, and I feel like Jake Paul's kind of cherry picking him because he's 58 years of age. I think Jake Paul's going to knock him out. It's going to be crazy to say at the end of all this, Jake Paul on his professional boxing record is going to have a win over Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson, one of the greats, is going to have a loss on his professional record to Jake Paul. It's insane. I know people are saying there's things in the contract that Mike Tyson can't knock out Jake Paul and it's a fix. I think that's all the biggest load of shit, to be honest. I personally don't know Mike Tyson. I don't know Nate Diaz. I don't know all these guys. But I cannot see them going in there to tarnish their legacy to fight Jake Paul. I think these guys have more self-respect than that. I don't think they're rigged. I don't think they're set up. I don't think there's contracts where people can do this and people can't do that. I think this is going to be a fight under certain rules with 16-ounce gloves and 2 8-minute rounds. I think Jake Paul's going to knock him out. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And it'll be interesting to see how Netflix actually host their first live sporting event. I'm going to be interested in seeing that. But let me know your opinions. And as always, I'll see you again in the next one.